One of the reasons that you feel overworked and underpaid in your side business is because you are asking too small. In this video, I want to help you recognize that you're asking too small in your business, meaning that you're asking for the wrong amount for your offer, and you could be looking for business that is actually aligned to the outcomes of your offer by asking bigger and not smaller. And then I want to help you know, like, what are the things getting in the way of doing that so you can really experience a breakthrough in your business, especially if you are working full time and this is your side business. You don't have time to be doing the things that you've been doing. So let's change the game and get the results that you really want. So I love to use this analogy called the chicken dinner analogy. So I used to work in nonprofit, and as you can imagine, in nonprofit, we did a lot of fundraisers. And most of the fundraisers that we did were for the students to do and some of the parents to do, and they typically were small ask fundraisers. Now, there's nothing wrong with this, but I want to make a point here is that sometimes we end up taking that same mindset into our business. Because I did. I started feeling like, I have to have a lower price for my services because I need to make sure that people can afford to use my services. And I felt like people would have an easier yes to a smaller amount, regardless of how amazing this transformation I was giving them or if it was even aligned to the price. I felt like that's all people could do. And so what would happen is I would have to ask a lot of people for a small amount to get to my actual goal, right? So it took more time, more effort, and sometimes I would work with people that weren't necessarily aligned to the people that I desired to work with or even aligned to my offer, because the real goal was just getting as many people to be able to buy this offer that I had, right? And if I'm honest, it was more comfortable for me to ask for a smaller amount because I knew most people would say yes to it. So I didn't have to feel any discomfort, right? But somewhere down the line, especially while I was working in nonprofit, I realized, what would it look like if I actually asked a few people for a bigger amount? This changed the game for me because instead of selling 100 things to get, $5,000, it's like, you know what? Let me just ask one person if they can write a check for $5,000. You have a different way of thinking when you do this because you're not just asking any and everybody, you're asking aligned people, right, for the outcome. And you're actually knowing what the value is of what you are telling people to invest in, whether that's nonprofit or even in your business. So in my business, I started thinking about, what would be the biggest transformation I could give someone? And the more I thought about that, the number grew. And then the more I thought about that, the person that would value that changed. And you know what? It became a smaller number of people. And so I get to ask more aligned people for something that is higher in terms of value. And although you still got to ask a few people, at least there are people that are more aligned and they would likely say yes because of that alignment. And so I'm making a big ask to a few people and they're more likely to say yes, but you still have to do the asking. So I found doing some work with other clients that a lot of the reasons that people have against asking big is because of the inside turmoil they have going on. And so I identified this as 3 things. So these are the 3 things that typically get in the way when you really want to shift from making small ask or playing small in your business and you really want to go big. One I have identified is enoughness. Many times we don't feel like we are being enough. We feel like there's something else that we have to do, especially as high achieving women. Sometimes we can have that self-sabotage feeling of, oh my gosh, are these people really going to respect me enough? Do they think I'm good enough to invest in the thing that they say they want that I can offer? Of course they do. But our mind keeps telling us that we are not enough. So we rather do the small ask that feels small. It's not a big exchange of information or transformation for dollars. And so it makes us feel safe. So ask yourself, am I sitting around feeling like I'm not enough? The second one is bothering. Do I feel like I am bothering people? You know, when you're making small ads, you don't feel like you're bothering people. You're like, yeah, everybody has 20 bucks. Everybody got $5. You're not thinking about it. Or $100, whatever it is, whatever that small offer is. But something starts to creep up when you start telling people that it's $5,000, $10,000. I've sold $20,000 packages, $30,000 packages. It starts creeping up like, oh man, am I making a bother? Is this going to be too much for them? Are they going to buck up against it because of their budget? All the things. But we have to know that when we have a transformation that really helps people solve their problem, we are not being a bother. We are being a blessing to these people. And if they have what they need to invest in themselves, they are going to use it to solve their problem. That's whether it's a $30,000 investment or a $300 or $30 investment. People always pay to solve their problems, but we have to know we're not being a bother, and we won't be if we're asking aligned people. We're asking aligned people, you won't be a bother. And the last one is that we are afraid of the yes. Let's be real. There is a version of you that you have to step into to make a big ask. When I pitched my first six-figure offer, I had to step into a person that was not afraid of the yes, because I knew them saying yes to that offer would cause me to expand to the person that would give them a 6-offer transformation. Now that person was already in me, but I was suppressing that because it's easier to do the things that feel easy instead of leaning into the discomfort that comes with growth. Even if that discomfort is temporary, leaning into it feels like it's gonna make the world fall apart if you start doing it. But if you just lean into the temporary feeling of discomfort, eventually you expanding yourself to do the big thing won't feel as hard anymore. It'll be normal. It'll be a habit. Just like you created the habit to do the small thing, you can create the habit to do the big, bold thing. So if you like what you heard in this video, then you need to click below, because I have a 900 Ask Challenge case study. Yes, I challenged myself to make 900 big, bold asks in my business, and you get to learn how I did it by clicking below. And so if you like what you see and you would like more support, then you can go ahead and contact me based on what you see in that case study. And until the next time, I'll see you in the next video.